conduit and what that means. And I will do my very best to communicate in an easeful channel. I do not have a vessel or a nervous system that will support a direct channel at the moment, yet I am able to move in and out in a way that is supportive and gives you the information that is required to be shared. So as you jump on for any of these transmissions, regardless of if they are from a direct channeled perspective of clear source conduit or through my highest monadic expression. So at the moment you are receiving from my monadic self, the being that I be and have embodied, and my ability as an energy reader and a conduit. And there are different states. So to explain this for your cognitive mind to make sense of is that there are different dimensional planes of consciousness. My human being is a three-dimensional human expression, yet I do not function from a three-dimensional consciousness. At times I do, just like everyone. At times I function in a two-dimensional consciousness, and even at times in a one-dimensional. And that these levels of consciousness move through us at different times and different states. However, my highest monadic self is from a state of consciousness up in the 23rd dimension. And so it is unified. Yes, there are aspects that it is in direct connection with Source, but it is not Source transcribing through me. And so when you are listening to channels, this is something to be aware of. It is not that they're not a clear conduit, it's just where are they communicating from? Where are they communicating from, and where are they gifting information and guidance? A lot of the channels or the galactic speakers for this Diatoriana, for this shift and for the bringers of change are speakers that communicate from the 7th to the 9th dimension. There are very few conduits that would be communicating from the place of the 12th dimension and above. However, there are some, and you will feel the resonant truth in what they are saying. So if you have a conduit that is communicating to you from a dimensional plane of experience that is below unity, you'll feel the sense of a false light narrative or a framework or matrix program. You will also sense when there are distortions within their field. And it's not that you can't or shouldn't listen to these beings, but it means being discerning and being aware of what you're listening to. Because as you go into a vulnerable state, as you open your heart and as you come into a place of receiving, you are receiving a sense of information, and that can be influential not only to your nervous system, but to your physical vessel, to your thought forms. And you can be programmed with information beyond the word that is spoken from the energetic realms, and also through light codes that may or may not be in your highest good. And so being aware and discerning of what is in your highest good. What is it that is making your cells light up? What is it within your vessel that you feel that you are centered and anchored into your heart? Because the 0 point of your being sits within the center of your heart space. So the 0 point, or returning to source and source connection, is not above nor is it below. It's in the center of your expression. And so you are receiving from all directions. You are receiving from all elements of creation. Beings that are speaking of ascension are only in relative communication with the ascended consciousness, and they have yet to meet their descended consciousness or anchor into the lower realms. And this gives a distortion of information and communication because it is a one lens expression. And those that are using different narratives of descended consciousness through trickery are using the thought loops of matter and confusion to bring one into a place of dissension to meet source. Now, if you want to understand any more of this, there was a recent transmission that talks about that you are not fighting the world, you are fighting yourself. And you can find that on my YouTube channel or here on Facebook. So before any further ado, I would like you to take 3 deep breaths in the discernment of your sovereign choice, that it feels true for you to receive this transmission, so that you can receive this with me and we can receive the information together, as it is not yet something that I have fully tuned into, in a live transmission of the pivoting point and what that means. So taking a deep breath into the heart space now. And exhaling out, breathing in, and breathing out, and breathing in, and breathing out. If you continue to breathe and have focus on your breath as you receive this transmission, it will help to release any of the distortions that sit within your mind, your vessel, and your monadic expression. Any karmic imprints that have come up in this point of your trajectory that are ready to be released at the highest good will be able to be released with breath and within the activation of this energetic offering. As we tune into the shift in the collective consciousness being the main mass of consciousness that has created our timeline, and we all have our individual timelines, and that each expression of consciousness can create a new timeline, and knowing that that is where the power is held, that you can feel into what the collective consciousness has transitioned into. Although it is still holding the timeline of chaos before order, a timeline that was implemented 4.5 weeks ago approximately, and that this timeline has been chosen, which is the timeline that has the current weather events and the shifts from the evolutionary standpoint into a new trajectory. What you are being in preparation for is the transition from the energy that you are moving into. That destruction is already underway, and the destruction points are being dismantled not only in your individual consciousness but in your external reality. And the pivot of energy from destruction to meeting a sense of deep despair in complete, I'm going to say demolition, is that there is a shift from that into loss and grief. So the helplessness and the complete apathy of what is the point and how can we move through this has shifted into deep levels of grief and loss. And so as the oracle expression is as the expression for the 144 is being communicated here, it's that the 144 are ahead of the current collective consciousness. So how you can see that is that you are choosing your timeline first, and you are connected to the collective. So you cannot separate yourself from. You can be in the world but not of the world, and that takes a level of mastery to stay anchored in a state of enlightenment and unified in the heart. Until that point comes, being aware that you are still very much a part of the collective consciousness, and that until you are fully anchored in an enlightened source connection of being without the tethering, that you are influenced by all energies around you. And so the 144 are what we would consider to be ahead of the game. And in your being ahead of the game, you have already started the destruction and the dismantling for chaos before order. So as you're moving through and starting to perhaps witness the aspects of chaos, and you may not even be in that point of physical manifestation yet. You may be aware of it, you may feel it, you may sense it, but it has not yet actualized into your physical reality. What is offered for you now is to see it as a point of loss and grief, to open the heart chakra with intention rather than complete disarray and helplessness into the shattering of separation. And so as this dismantling is required, it is needed. It is a necessity to create anew this level of breaking away the old constructs and paradigms to come into a stable, open-hearted octave is taking place. And so when we talk about a pivot, what that means is we're still anchored in this chaos and order timeline. How that looks shifts based on the vibrational frequency. So because there has been an increase in the collective consciousness of 2.11%, and there has been a rise in that collective frequency, what happens is that the individuals of the 144 and the bringers of change are holding a higher resonant frequency. And it only takes one or two beings to give up their narrative and anchor a higher expression for a massive ripple effect to take hold. And so as the beings that would be receiving this are only that of the 144 or the bringers of change, or those that are deciding to resist against these messages, and that human beings would not be guided to this message. Human beings would not be resonant to this information, and I would be considered someone that was mentally unstable or communicating in a dialect or language that does not make sense. It is you that I speak to. And it is you that are these expressions of consciousness. And so when you share this information, share it to those that are able to receive. Share it to those that are able to meet you in witness. And start to be discerning of who you're communicating with and what dimensional plane of consciousness are they experiencing life, either in a maintainable expression or at that point in time. It is very challenging to speak a level of higher guidance to someone that is in the point of deep separation and holding the light. For them to feel and remember that is of more grace. And so as this 144 and going into a deepening of where you continue to close your heart, this is the opportunity to remain with open-heartedness. And for those that are yet to activate the heart, for those that are yet to fully open that heart chakra, you will feel a sense of grief and loss. That is a necessary part of opening the heart chakra, and that is a necessary part of moving into 5-dimensional or 5th-dimensional expression of communication. And so this shift for the collective must take place for the 144 to guide. And the shift for the human race is taking place in the awareness that it is not yet there. We are at a tipping point, and we offer an opportunity for this to change. And so as the shift is now, instead of seeing complete devastation of the heart chakra, it's meeting grief and loss. In the recognition, in the awareness, where have I actually destroyed something? But I stepped away before it was fully destroyed. So this is the shift in energy frequency. Instead of playing out the pattern of behavior, playing out the same repetitive programs and the same loops or identities, there's been a witness. A witness that has seen, if I continue this, I am going to completely destroy, demolish, and cause disruption in my experience that is beyond repair, that is so dismantled that there is no recreation. It is a complete death. And so the only thing forward is new life. Now, we do not have to choose that in our life experience. We can choose this path from a recognition of what behaviors, what patterns am I in, what is my current experience, where I can see that I'm leaning into the merry-go-round, whether that's an internal merry-go-round, whether that's a merry-go-round of relationship, whether that's a merry-go-round that you see yourself abandon yourself and overstep your energy levels in service, whether it is that you're the space holder and you recognize that you can only hold space for so long and you pull yourself back and you actually abandon another. What is it that your merry-go-round is? Are you witnessing? Are you on the merry-go-round? Have you decided that that merry-go-round you actually decide to stop the ride? That you're going to wave and you're like, I'm a little scared, or this isn't a ride I'm willing to go on? Is it that this cycle that you are about to lean into to effectively destroy, so you are in a cycle that will be destroyed? How are you destroying it? Are you on it? Are you witnessing it? Or have you decided that ride isn't for you and that you'd like to try a new adventure? You'd like to try a new energetic frequency, a new position. Because as you see this cycle, as you see this loop that you have either commenced upon, you have choice in every moment to see the mirrors that are showing you this, to see the mirrors that if I keep going, there is actually, I am so out of my grips, I am so out of my grasp, and I can't slow down. I'm on it till the end. And that is the path of complete destruction, but you have a choice. At the moment, you have a choice to witness it. You have a choice to go, where is this pattern for me? I don't want to destroy myself. I don't want to destroy those in my life. I don't want to destroy from that place. Instead, I'm going to see that this new frequency that's available is that I can witness the loss and the grief of actually witnessing and recognizing this has served, but it doesn't serve anymore. This has gifted me so much, but it is no longer in my highest good. That this identity, this belief, this attachment, this story, this job, this relationship, this friend, and it may be hard because every part of your logical brain can see that there's other ways. Your logical mind will want to tell you that you can do both. Your logical mind and this higher guidance that's seen you, wants to create new, may be like, I can hold on and it can be different. But can it? Is the reality check in this moment about recognizing the truth of yourself and the truth of the collective and how you are a part of that? And can it be different at this point? Not what the possibilities are for the future. At this point in time, can this be different for you? Can you break the cycle and still be on the ride? Can you be in the world, but not of the world? And allow yourself to simmer with that. The attachment and the need to control and to be the change is going to be highlighted. These attachments that you have to why you came to Earth are going to be those strongholds. The reason that you're here is going to be the reason that you loop. The reason that you came here is going to be the reason that you continue to play an identity out to destroy it, because you cannot hold this identity, because this identity has many different narratives that are not your true essence. And so as you see that what you're about to play out has the core gift, the core key, the core awareness to why you're here. Why did you come? Why are you here at this very point in time? What is it that brought you to this point of life, creation? To be incarnated on earth now. That driver, that knowing, that remembering, in its unclaimed expression. To claim it, to choose it, requires the dismantling of everything that is not it. And so it's driving you into the distortion, the contrast, the grief, the loss. To show you that I chose to be here for this reason, and I'm not being this. So what part of my heart has to hurt? What part of my heart has to break open in grief to recognize that I'm not being what I chose to be when I came here, that I am not being what I wrote in my soul contract, that I am not being what my soul's path is, that I am not creating from my heart space, that I have stepped away from my highest timeline. As that heart-opening offering. Now if in this moment you can see, okay, maybe I don't know what that is. Maybe I've just got a sense. Maybe I truly know what my soul's purpose is. But what if I open it and say, I don't want to release this construct through grief and loss. Instead, I would like to claim why I came. In the knowing, I don't know, maybe. Maybe I have only a sense. But to avoid that relationship breakdown and losing of that partner, to avoid that offering that no one resonates with because it's not coming from the true essence of your heart, it's coming from a point of desperation. And the energy themes that you are moving through are helplessness, desperation, need, micromanaging, dictatorship, this control through subtleties, this control of needing to show someone or to step outside of self to create and pave a way. That some of the identities that you may find are the martyr, that you may find yourself in connection with the judge, that you may find yourself in connection with the counselor, the rescuer, the savior, the healer. That the identity of the night may show up. That there is aspects of these energy signatures that come in different forms of either light or dark, that show up in your physical reality now, before you're losing. Before that loss is about to take place. And if you choose loss, that is okay. You are showing yourself now that you're choosing through dissension and you're still dancing through polarity. But you can choose to be consciously aware and soften the blow. So these identities are the identities that show your light, your pillar. Perhaps you're a space holder. Perhaps you're a speaker of the word. Perhaps you're a light bearer. Perhaps you're here to teach embodiment. Perhaps you're here to be that of a guide to transcendence, and all that is being guided for you right now is to transcend. To focus on self, presence, unity. Perhaps you're here for great things and you're already embarking on them. But where is the loop showing up that you are rescuing, healing, and self-abandoning? because your pillar cannot anchor until your heart remains open. Whilst your heart tethers between in and out, you communicate from ego and love. The octave of your spirit can only be expressed from an open heart. If you are not open-hearted, then you are not speaking any ounce of truth. And so be aware now, in this moment, to avoid the loss and grief that is predicted if you don't heed this message, that you will close your heart and speak projection, wrongness. You will create conflict, and you will project and blame upon another until enough separation takes place that it is irreparable. Maybe that's within yourself, that you blame yourself so much that you go into the grief and dismantle that aspect or behavior completely. The effects of the current weather predictions are still at play. There is no dates that have shifted. There is no prediction in relation to the financial or to the control structures of Parliament that have changed. There is just a slight opportunity not to completely destroy your reality, to shift, but instead to meet loss and grief in the opening of choosing to keep your heart raw as we move through this in assistance for other and for self. When there is a shift or a timeline change of these dates and projections or additional information that is guided, I will share. Until then, focus on keeping your heart open and not creating a point of loss where grief is the only way to bleed your heart of the pain that you have not met. I love you. Ahava. If this transmission is something that resonates to share, please share. And if you have any comments, please comment below so that you are interacting. The engagement of this transmission can be felt. Others that are resonating can feel this, and it can be met in their vortex, and they can come into the recognition of this message. The eclipse phase is the phase of what are you going to lose because you're not willing to lose that aspect within yourself and choose the truth within you. I love you.